Welcome to the Soft Vikings, a quest for meaning, purpose, love, and loyalty. I'm
Yeah,
John, the lost son.
I'm Eric, the tyrant. I'm happy that you start including love, even if that's a more fluid position than loyalty.
It's in. It's
in.
fine. Yeah, a little sick today. I can hear.
So you have to excuse me today a little. Have a little cold, but I'm okay. So and we're not afraid that you will catch a cold.
No,
I guess.
well, that's a
Yeah.
good segue to today's topic. Some death, birth, and rituals.
Death, births, and rituals.
The catching the cold can be the last thing you do.
Yeah, I mean,
The common way.
very many deaths are caused by cold or an influenza.
It's like the last straw that breaks the camel's back. It's
Yeah, because that comes at the end of the journey.
yeah. So that's and I guess that's the point of all journeys. They need an end.
If not, they become very complicated to relate to.
Yeah. And for us humans, it's hard to imagine.
Yep.
We are tied into beginnings and ends.
So I had an experience last week, which is part of the modern reality we face here up in Norway, because we have a huge welfare state that takes care of everybody, and it's filled with carbon money, oil money.
Oil field.
And we
welfare.
and we are full of some sort of bad consciousness or something around it.
Yeah, I
So
guess.
we try to be the nicest guy in the world.
Like the guilty mafia boss.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
guilty mafia
giving
boss.
you some turkeys.
Yes.
It's like, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. All around. And we have the great warrior, Mr. Stoltenberg, the true general of NATO.
Yes.
Uh,
Our old prime minister.
yeah. So he's delivering some blows on behalf of all of us. So he still shows that we are Vikings.
Yeah.
But the welfare state is, and in Norway we have this idea, which I kind of like, is that the whole country should be populated. But for you, that's not Norwegian. Norway is a pretty large and long country.
Yes.
And very exposed to weather and harsh conditions. So it's not really easy to maintain, as you know, population all around on at least on an economic level, because you don't have natural activity in an economic perspective.
No.
Farming in Norway is hard, and of course, as all around the world, we have centralized farming as much as we can.
We don't have much.
I think we don't
Arable
35,000 farmers or something. It's like next to nothing. But they are a strong group, have a strong voice. And they're also politically into the main narrative in Norway, and that is that we are a nation where traditionally we've been spread around, and all the local communities has a strong voice and should have it. Decentralized, which I also like. It's a good idea, but the problem is that the population are moving, of course, to the big cities, especially the youngs, and especially the young girls.
Yes.
Because the young girls are pumped up to take education.
Yes.
And they are good at it.
Yeah.
And then they want to use the education.
Mm-hmm.
And I was visiting, a smaller place in Norway this other weekend on a uh, baptize sort of ceremony.
Yes.
Is there other words for that? If it's you take out the church, what do you-
Christian way.
name day,
I guess you can have different names. It's basically the ritual around
naming a person.
baby
Yeah.
getting recognized
Yes.
somehow.
Making it as a person or an individual.
So they do it like certain time after birth,
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
like so it makes
Yeah, in the Christian tradition, it's like I don't know if they have a timeline on it, and I think it's different from the different branches of Christianity. But here up in the Protestant, oh, help me out.
the Protestant Protestant. What is it called? It's like it's a hard word.
Yeah, fuck. More
Protestant. Protestant. We're against the Catholics.
Yes, at
that's
least.
for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we are pro reading the Bible in our own room for ourselves.
Yeah, no,
And struggle with God.
suffer.
With God.
The more you suffer, the better. It's probably.
But up here, it's usually when the child is like half a year or something.
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months.
I think that's probably most places because child death.
So there were some relatives in the family. So I went to this place together with my wife. And there was like 3 things that were like really okay. Here we are. That's where we are today. Number 1 is that there were no kids. It was like 40 people.
Yeah.
45, and all this layer of that between 25 and 35, they didn't have kids.
No.
So the only one that had the kids was that one that should be baptized.
Yeah. So weird.
And people were like old.
Yeah.
And the second one is no church. The church was taken out. No church. So it was done in they had rented a place at the school, which is like something you do there when they have gatherings. So that's like a usual thing. And it was nice, and it was like opening, welcoming, all this. But no common rituals. No speeches, no nothing. No.
So it wasn't the Christian ceremony at all?
Not at all.
Well, they just had some
ate.
speeches and just ate
Ate it.
immediately. Like
No, there was like
So
coming
singing.
together and a lot of photos and,
But
nice
no,
to see you.
no music, no
No,
beat,
nothing.
no
Zero.
singing.
Zero.
That's weird.
Nothing that like made a community.
But that was by choice, or
I don't know if that's how they do it, but my reflection is that when you throw out the church, you also throw out some structure for a ritual. And
you have to replace them at least
and
with something.
And it's very hard to replace it because then you have to invent it.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yes.
But you can. Basically, it's a formula you could follow.
Yes.
Like sing, speech, sing, speech.
Yes. But there
Do
were
the thing.
none
Nothing.
of that. No. And the third was like people don't really talk to each other. It was like very silent. I don't know if this is like common, but these people were like one-to-one, nice, super normal, like nothing strange about anything. But of course, this lack of children,
Yeah.
that we can see in the statistics.
Yes. Clearly.
And the Norwegian countryside are graying in a super fast speed. And it's a little spooky.
It is.
It was like looking into the future. We're like, wow, that's the way we're going to
gonna
be
be-
together. Even the baptized zone was like a lunch in the
Yeah, because there's no
elder
business.
home.
There's no volume no more. What are
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yes.
Only the Undertaker.
Yes.
No, it's yeah, that's my age is the average age in Norway now.
Yeah. And you're
And-
40 something.
Yeah, 42, and in
And you're still without children. That's
yes,
the
and there
that's
we
the,
go.
That's the real challenge, you know, to become a man. You have to build a house and you have to take care of some children.
Yeah,
So you
This is
have a
the-
lot of work to do.
this is the modern tragedy
Yes.
in many ways, and you can always blame the individual to some extent, which you have to take responsibility yourself too.
Yeah. But
But
we
there
always,
is a tendency, clearly, right?
yeah. It's, the culture is
And,
impacting everybody
Yeah, and
strongly.
the incentives that been laid out for my generation and the young ones now, they are not to have children.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's against, basically.
Yeah, because it's very easy to understand because all the women's they have a lot of things to do before they can give birth. They have to do their education and they want to start their jobs and get their career rolling, and then boom, you're suddenly 30.
This is the
And then they want to have fun, of course, and travel and all these nice, understandable things. And boom, you're 35.
it's such a, in my opinion, such a cruel thing to say to someone that when you have a biological time limit for having kids, and then you convince people you should do all these other things first.
It should be the opposite.
Exactly, and there's no really good reason why you couldn't do it the other way at all, because now you have the big, huge issue of, say you take your education and start your career. And then if you want to have a family, you have to stop your career.
Yes,
And that could be like a career-ending move, right? You have to
that's the
give
way it's
up.
built up. Yes, because all the other ones are just rushing and take the higher positions.
At least you'll fall behind or you lose.
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's a problem. So if you just had your babies first and then went to university and then had your career, people
Much
live
better
longer.
off. Yeah.
So
And it's a lot of other advantages because if you're younger, you're more physically fit. It's more natural to have a birth when you're younger. And I think also like mentally, you're more flexible and you're not that scared mother that should protect. You're
Obviously,
more
and-
able to expose your kid for natural,
say you
a
have
natural exposure for how life is.
you have one child and you are 40 something
Yes.
as a female. You better be scared. This is your only shot.
Yeah, and then this poor child got all your
Everything.
anxiety and all your need for protection and all, they get it all.
So if you're 19, you're like, okay, but
Okay,
we
yeah.
can try again.
We can try again. We have a lot of
A little
more-
cynical, but
yes.
it's kind of true.
Not cynical. I think it's in your unconsciousness.
Yeah, but obviously there is some. It's a reality.
Yeah.
This is your only shot.
So I would advocate strongly that all the incentives should be turned, and maybe they will. I mean, a lot of wise guys or people that looks into the future say that the demographic is one of the huge problems, at least not only in the West.
It's
I think it's it's Africa
There
and
are only a
India
few
that's
countries.
still on the grow.
I think
Africa, India.
is India faces the same.
No, they
China
still
has
no.
the same.
India
Maybe
hasn't-
but they're on the same.
same trajectory.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're gonna get there. I think it's more like the curse of the post-industrialized society.
modernity.
Big cities.
Yeah, big cities.
That's the.
Big cities. That's a very plain explanation
I think
because
it's the
in
easiest one.
in big cities, children are a cost.
Yeah, I think it's
And
that simple.
in the rural area, normally children are a part of
It's
the
labor.
economy. Yes,
It's that simple.
yes, I think so.
No, I
Yeah.
mean it plainly is, and
It's only in the city. It's purely an emotional investment, and that doesn't
and
sticks enough because it's so many other emotional distractions, and you can get a lot of short-term emotional satisfaction without children.
and yes,
You can get
it's
a
an
dog.
emotional, but and maybe the biggest one, coupled to big cities, is
Yes.
welfare state.
Yes,
So meaning you don't need kids to take care of you when you're old.
those two are
I mean,
pulling
so
in the same
that would-
direction.
that's an incentive
Yes, yeah.
for people. It's like, do you want to have a
But-
nice life?
but
You
they-
gotta have kids.
But they buy dogs instead.
Yeah,
Especially
but they can't
smaller
take care
dogs.
of you.
No. But they are tapping into your
Like a
need
support
for
dog.
for that emotional connection, right, to another living being.
You can have robots.
That's the only the interesting. Not the only. I had one interesting conversation on this navnedag in name day out in the rural part of Norway. It was not in the dark valleys. It was part of the plain land around the fjord.
Okay.
So they should have a broader view. And then this guy was telling me that about his dog, and he was very passionate because the dog was his best friend, of course, and helped him kept him healthy in a way because he was like in the 80s and he had to walk every day. But
Companionship.
companionship. But then the dog got some complications with the features, sort of inflammation, what's acute. And then they went, because everywhere now there is a hospital for animals or for dogs, because it's big business. And then they was said, you should do it now, but that was a Sunday. So if you wait till Monday, maybe it's a risky. But Sunday is
More
of course the
expensive.
double price. So they had to pay like $15,000.
Oh Lord.
These poor guys,
Get a new dog.
and they did it, and they didn't wait till Monday.
Because they don't want to lose their
No,
companion.
so you see that we fill the void where there used to be children with dogs, in a way.
And
It may be good for the dogs.
can work. Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
great for the dogs.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a weird thing that, but it kind of explains we need to have this,
Of course.
and we need to love things, and we need to be loved. And
So if the demographic is a problem, a way to turn it around is to put incentives to that you get children much earlier, and start that to be part of the culture.
it's possible. I mean, I think Hungary is probably the country that has been putting the most money in it,
And
at
Poland,
least in the western.
Poland too.
world.
Also, I think the Polish are like
But
really
it's
giving.
hard to change because you
super
still
hard.
run into the same
Yeah, the rest of the
structural-
world. Yeah,
No, but the whole
still
thing
are in the
that
cities.
going to education, it's still expensive to have children, even if you subsidize, right? And it's inconvenient, and you can't do whatever you want, and all this.
And on the other side, we have removed the death from our consciousness, or at least from the visible part of the society. Have you seen a dead person?
Not since. Well, I have seen many.
Yes, when you studied to be a doctor, yes.
Yeah, so it's only for specialists. That, yeah, there's like healthcare people.
Yes.
They see death. Funeral homes, but outside that setting, I think it's only been like in the funeral.
Yeah, but in the funeral, there is a ritual in Norway. Somebody use it, somebody don't. That you can, say farewell and also, see the body. More like the traditional Catholic way to do it. that everybody meets out, and the dead person is in the coffin, but it's open and they are like fixed so they look as nice as possible. That's a huge industry.
It's come to Norway too.
Yeah,
A little bit.
I was attending one.
It's like an American tradition.
No, it's we talk about this because it's close to our experience, because we have both this Baptist thing I went to, and we also have a tragic death in some close circles, and I went to say farewell yesterday. So it was like an open day, and to see the body, it's
Yesterday.
It's strong.
Yeah, and tomorrow.
And it's healthy. Tomorrow it's the
Funeral.
the funeral, yes, in the church. Thank God, but because we have removed the church from almost all rituals that we, in a way, we strip our society for common rituals. It's like whatever you want. And this is like this multicultural, a little of yours, a little of mine, and we make an omelette or whatever.
Yeah. So
But for our traditional institutions and rituals, they are gone. And there is nothing to hang on to. But we haven't really given up the Christian rituals when it comes to death. I don't think we're there, or we don't really have anything to replace it with.
I think that's like when
Because
it comes to burying.
It's so close to the real wonder. Why? What is life? What is death? I don't think.
Yeah, it's like you got to be really bold to say, "Hey, let's do this kumbaya when someone dies." It's like, oh,
that's
you
a
went
hard
there.
one. That's a hard one.
Yeah,
and that's in
that
a way
it's not
it's
wrong, but
it's a hope in that we are maybe try to not restore, because I think it's hard to restore the church.
it's not easy to say, but in Norway, the Christian faith isn't that strong.
No, it's absorbed by the left side. The socialist has taken the rhetoric,
but
to
that's
equality and
empty.
take care of the weak ones. Yes, it's empty, but they've taken it. So in a way, and the rest are looked as conservative or really out of fashion.
Yeah.
But when people die, we still go to the church.
There's I guess, an innate need for some rituals,
Yes.
and this is the hard thing about being a human, is the existential, the fear of death, meaning we know we're gonna die, and we don't think most other animals
Have that
have that thought. They
consciousness.
don't know they're gonna die.
No.
And we can't imagine them not knowing, because we know so well.
But they have a fear, but that's their fear are more on an instinct level.
Yeah,
But
it's like pain.
we also have that.
Yeah, we have like
Both.
paid avoidance.
Yes.
That's
We have it on
Right.
an unconscious level, but also on a conscious level, because we are aware of it.
yeah. So we need the rituals to bear the pain,
Yeah, I think
true or not.
this is like a huge conversation, but as Vikings going to conquer the world, or not conquer, but visiting
Yeah.
and learning, this is not like we've been out there a little already, so we can say maybe we are reorganizing and try to really, be prepared for the big journey.
yeah.
Yeah, but we had some small journeys, so we've seen some of the world, and all this around the community thing, right? Because the modern world, what's left of these layers between the state and the individuals? Because the state has absorbed the church, at least in Norway.
Yeah.
So we are there where we are always been afraid of.
Well, it's all the conspiracy and the dark dystopian sci-fi, right? That's now, if you read those old books, it's like, oh, that's pretty close to what we got right now.
Yeah. But traditionally, at least in Europe, there always also in the Western, from the Greek and up, there's always been a discussion between the state and religion.
Yeah, at least it's two different powers. That
And the early Christians says give the Caesar what the Caesar shall have, and the rest we deal with ourselves. And it's been also the split between body and mind, you can say, or body and soul. That the church take care of the soul and the state take care of the body. But everybody's been a little skeptic and afraid when this melt into one.
Yeah,
because then you can get no place to hide, and the state not only should take care of your body, but also your soul and your thoughts and your mind and everything.
Yeah, it's like a complete
So
package.
there's no power split there. So
no,
and it's close to getting to the authoritarian state.
It makes it harder to dissent as well when there's just one.
Because
power.
if the state is also,
You're a judge.
administering the moral.
Yeah, which is kind of is.
Yeah, now we in Norway we are close to it, and then that's why
politicians act
one way to get a healthy life and a happy life is that you need some social structures is possible to relate to. And that's called community, or it's family, of course, but family is a little scattered these days. The large family is a little out of fashion. The nuclear family is under pressure. People are single.
Yeah, it's been.
They don't team up. They don't pair. They don't get children.
You have the strongest statistics is from South Korea.
Yes.
Which says that for every 100 grandparents, there's now 3 children.
That's a tough one.
So
me also.
You're like, what are you gonna do?
I'm a grandpa, but I'm not a grandpa because you and your sister hasn't got your act together, so there is no.
Well,
children.
there you go, blaming the individual.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But and that's true to an extent.
That's true to an extent, because if we take away every agency from the individual, then we're doomed.
Yes, but this is the you can get the pushback from my generation and the younger ones is that your generation and the one before there
and stolen all the resources.
They kind of
spent everything.
Get everything, and they kind of pulled out the ladder.
Yeah, spent everything and sitting there
and sitting on all the values and saying, "Why aren't you guys getting your act together?" And by the way, you can't have a place to live. No. So, but get kids.
Yeah,
it's an issue, right?
No, yeah. I understand that,
and
of course.
You couple it with, for example,
but I would call all these excuses.
Yeah, but that's what the older generation will say. Then it's just that's excuses. But I will point out that in Norway and in many Western cultures, American culture, it's frowned upon that you live at home, for example.
Yes,
which would solve the issue with many things regarding having children, because then you would have.
So that's called the larger
place to live.
That's the larger family, or the
baby care, daycare, all of this.
3 generations,
Then
and
it's possible.
that's really out of fashion.
Yeah, and that's insane.
But they still do it in Italy in a way.
And then it's easier to have kids.
No, but Italy has a low birth rate also.
Yes. Okay. But that's different factors.
Yes,
perhaps,
yeah,
right?
Of course. But
the thing is that, like, say if you are so-called a loser if you don't have your own house.
Yeah.
And
push
then you
is
have
that
to
way.
have your mortgage.
The machine wants you to go that way. So we all are
Pushing
into the
it.
treadmill, running.
And this is why the children is a big cost.
Yeah. Of course.
Because it's not affordable.
I'm completely...
You want to have a decent life, you can't have kids.
But
in the
I
short
wanted to
term.
go another way, another place, and that's or it's the same, complex called the modern lives, the hell of the hell in the modern society, or whatever you want to call it, or the negative part of it. It's like it's you, maybe you and your wife and a child, if you're lucky, or and then it's nobody and nobody and nobody, and then it's the state.
Yeah.
Or you can say it's you and the state, and maybe you get a wife and a kid to push the state a little out of your house. And then it's very hard to stand up against the big narratives, because there is no communities, there is no other source of
Less and less.
yes, that social structure. The church is taken away, all this voluntary area that you want me to jump into. We shall talk about a little about that.
Well, that's you have arenas left.
Diminishing,
but it's less and
yes.
less.
And then, of course, you have some arenas. You have, if you have interests, then you can find people with the same interests, like sports or fishing, and you have like your friends, right? But that's also a very loose structure. And that void, I don't know if it can be filled again, or it's just...
I guess you can transform and reinvent things. It takes time.
Yes.
And it probably is the transition isn't pleasant.
No.
Probably. But if you like, you say, okay, you got to troubleshoot, say humans need rituals. So to make the modern society work, we need to have more rituals. I mean, say, by now the government, the state ritual is very weak, because it's basically voting every second year. That's the only ritual, really, where you are connected with the state.
Yep.
That's it. And that's
or when
not a
you
lot.
pay your taxes.
Yeah, that's a different ritual. But yeah, you could say that. So like once a year you have paying your taxes, which is the ritual.
Yes.
Which is like the penance, paying the church has always been a ritual.
Yeah.
And then you have the giving the vote. But there's no communion, there's no... Now we're going to meet with your local council for a meal or a song.
No, there's no
All
personal. It's not broken down to a size that is manageable for a normal person.
No, it becomes impersonal.
Yeah.
We need to sing, we need to see you, we need to eat something together.
Yes.
Or else there is no ritual. Those things are what rituals are made of.
And we need something that repeats itself, because that's in a way
like your taxes.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
They have a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
No, so they're onto something. You just need to sing your song while you pay your tax, maybe something.
Yes. Say you enjoy it,
but it becomes this faceless thing, right?
Yes.
Bureaucracy.
Yes.
And a bureaucrat isn't a very good priest.
And the other thing in Norway, because we have, I don't know, but I think we are on the top list of the size of the public sector.
For sure.
We have a super rich state that have a lot of assets. And we have an idea that we keep all the... super profit from the oil and gas industry in a fund, and we place it in stocks and bonds and some property all around the world.
Yeah, we have 3% of the
State
world
first.
listed stocks in the world.
State fund, yes. That's owned by the state, and then the state, I think, is the largest shareholder on Oslo Stock Exchange. I think they have.
20.
This is from the top of my head. Over 1/3 of the market value.
That much, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we also have this ID in Norway, which is actually a communist ID, not very appealing to me, but it's like all welfare production should be done by the state, because welfare production shouldn't be in the market. It shouldn't be anyone that should be profiting on delivering welfare, which is
Not
going
all, though,
home
but most.
rhetorically, and it's like a huge point from the left side. They're hammering on it, and people are buying it, and they are using all these traditional communistic tricks that they are labeling those people that deliver those services and make money as profiteers, or like really bad people.
Huh. Yeah.
So we have a huge part of the production in the economy also done by the state.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have the state bureaucracy on top of it, or in addition. And if you also include the regional part of the state, communes, which is also public sector,
Of course.
I think roughly you're talking about 60% of the economy,
At least.
and that means that also a huge, or the largest part of the working force are working in that type of systems.
Yes.
And we know that you become what you do in a way, and you are very cultured. So where you spend your time will reflect on the way you think and feel and operate in the world.
Yeah, your incentives.
Yes, and when most of the people are in the state sector and start thinking like bureaucrats.
Well, you wouldn't want to say, let's reduce the state,
It's
because
hard.
it's you.
Yeah, and they won't.
No?
So that is a very interesting so that maybe that
I mean,
it will implode.
Is
because
there any place that has ever
individuals.
managed to reform the state to become smaller? I don't know. I don't think there's
I think it has to implode or explode.
there's not many examples of reform.
Let's
Reduce.
I'm
You've
not
been
the-
there in the department of trying to.
Yeah. I was my first job after graduating was being part of. There was a conservative government, and they had this.
They made a new department.
Yeah, because the department was for privatization and deregulation and less
Trying to reduce
their bureaucracy, and it was the most fastest growing
Yeah,
department.
exactly. The irony. The irony is big.
Yeah.
So
We
I
got
think
all the resources we wanted. You could
it's like,
hire.
just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this.
Get down bureaucracy.
No, so I think this is the
That was a
issue.
nice experience.
Issue with bureaucracy is that it gets a life of its own, like an institution. It gets a will to survive on its own, so it will fight against reduction.
Yeah, but that's so. When I was on this name day, it's like these 50 people huddled together in a public, building called the school, and they were like renting or lending
Baptism.
part of it then, and all of them are in a way in an exchange with the state, because most of them are working in the state in local state jobs.
Yes.
Or they have a direct paycheck, because in Norway you're very close to what you call basic income.
Universal basic income.
Yeah, we're close to it, because
It's not far off.
No, because either you get sick money, or you can get that's you're not able to work, then you are on the state.
Unemployment
No, not the
benefits.
ufør. You're not fit
If
for
you're
work.
sick. Yeah, yeah.
They can declare it medical, but that's expanded because it can also be like
It's a huge
medical.
number.
Yeah, it's. I think it's
Crazy.
It's crazy. I think we have like we're close to 10% now of the working population are on what you can call a
And
universal.
a lot of young
basic.
people as
A
well,
lot of young people also, yes.
which is wild.
Because the wild thing is you deprive them for purpose.
Yeah, it is all around not a good thing. It's
So you get that passive, and then it's like somebody has. What's happened here? It's like somebody has blown out the candle or tapped out the blood, or it's like anemic poor people.
yeah. It
Or
there's not much. What's left of the meaning in life if you're just like you're just a number, and here is enough for you to get by, and please don't talk so much.
this is very dark, John.
It is dark, and but you know the world is always almost ending tomorrow, which everybody thinks.
Yeah,
So it's not. But that's the human brain. We tend to focus on the negative because we deem the positive to be irrelevant.
but we want to break it down because we are Vikings and we connect to our, deeper genes, and we want to go on an adventure, and we want to fix our what shall I say, setup, or how we are moving around, and we want to be wiser if possible.
Yeah. Do as the old Vikings. Then,
Yes.
then the leader had to bribe his gang, his people.
Yeah, he really had to
But,
give them. He really had to pay back.
They had to pay back, but there was only loyalty to that person.
To a certain extent.
So the next guy had to start all over.
Yeah, it was very personalized.
But here the state has been very smart because they say it's not like now you pay. I got my welfare check from the prime minister. I
No.
really like him.
No,
People don't think that way.
no.
It's
They
a
think-
system
Yeah, the
that never
institution.
dies.
And that's very interesting about trust, because the Norwegians has immense trust in the state.
Yeah, I think so.
Unbelievable in their institution. And in a way, it's a very strong thing, and it's a very positive in many ways, because it's also a high level of trust between people. It's super easy to do the business in Norway. Of course, people are cheating, but it's a handshake.
No, it's a high level.
Yeah. So everything is efficient, because trust is maybe one of the most efficient traits, or what you can call it.
I think they did the wallet experiment.
But they don't
in
trust the
Norway.
politicians, but they trust the system.
It's more people trust people thing.
No, in Norway,
Yeah,
it's
and
like
trust the system, but
because
that's
that
not-
means you can live with corrupt or bad politicians because you trust the system in a way. It's a little weird, but that's how it runs if you look at the polls.
yeah, you kind of realize that they are not really running the show
No,
in a way.
in a way.
They're not.
No.
It's the unelected ones,
Yes,
which is if you
More
want to go
scary.
darker because
more
they
scary.
can't.
I know
control.
these guys. I've been part of
and
it.
they are the ones who are calling the shots, and it's not just the bureaucracy in governments; it's also all the big institutions that we now take guidance from. They are not elected either.
No.
The big ones, all the big ones, they're not. United Nations is not elected, and then all these places, it loses trust.
Well,
And how to
I
be
think-
loyal to
I
someone
think,
you
can't
can't have a
we
say.
label this episode about death, but I didn't see that we should go so dark.
But death is a dark thing.
Is it? It's a light thing also.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And the same thing you could say about when you talk about dark things and try to understand the challenges of one's time. It is important. It shouldn't be just say, "Oh, you're negative. This is not pleasant to talk about." Because even if you don't have the solution to the problem, you're gonna have to start somewhere.
Yeah, I
right?
think the thing is that you shouldn't be overwhelmed.
That's another issue. You can get overwhelmed.
No, you should carve out something you can do something with, and focus on that, and focus on your creativity, your capacity of doing good, and try to find out what good is, and don't be too shallow, and don't be fucked around too much, and
You need the
don't.
balance
Yeah.
to talk about these things. You can't just do that all day long. Then it's an escape,
Yep.
usually.
But that's the huge discussion now. It's like all the big institutions in the West are under pressure, right? We don't really trust them. We don't
They're
really
thriving
trust
in the power and numbers.
of course, we don't really trust big pharma. We don't really trust the food industry.
More and more people have a distrust.
And with this, COVID running around, we see that our health institutions are also not like 100% trustworthy.
Oh, there's cracks.
There's cracks all around, and we don't trust the state. At least you and me don't really trust them. And it's we're surrounded by these huge institutions, both market operators and state operators,
and the biggest players of them all that are now
and
the
they
big
corporations.
Yes, the global.
And they they are working together with the states.
This is the new.
And
this is the challenge. And
then it's the global level of it, and they are on a global scale working together. So they don't even care about the nations so much more as we were used to.
And I guess that's all been.
But then again, you have the other thing, because what's the alternative? Because the institutions are needed to run the modern society. How can you make an airplane fly if you don't trust everything that's behind? Then you shouldn't go on board on airplanes. But people do, and it works.
Yeah.
How can we get this electricity here if we don't trust our engineers?
Yes.
So it's a very slippery slope to be crushing the institutions, because we don't have an alternative. Because then it's mayhem. Then it's totally collapse.
Yeah, and
so that's why.
Of course, and the whole foundation is confidence, trust.
Yes. But it's very easy to sit and poke on the institutions and say everything is bad.
But
and it's very stimulating also.
I think that the root of some of the root of the problem here is that for too long there's not been a media that has done its role, or not enough. There hasn't been enough room for criticizing the institutions, so they have grown to become something they maybe shouldn't be, right?
Yeah, in Norway, the state is also funding most of the media.
In a way, many ways, that's the way. And even
we have,
not only media, but culture.
Yeah, we have a public, what they call public broadcasting, or Norwegian state publisher.
Yeah, well, the biggest one is state-owned.
Yes, NRK.
Yeah, of course. It's like a BBC kind of thing. And they're the biggest ones.
That's the biggest one, yes.
And the other ones get support more or less, right?
Yeah, not some of the big ones. Which has a healthy, still a healthy financial, business model, are running, but on their own. But a lot of them get direct support.
But even then, if you
because you have this idea of diversity in the media, which is a good idea.
But then again, if you say you're ad-based,
yes.
Most of the workforce and companies in Norway are state-owned. So
yes.
There you go. They will always be influenced by this
So the
big
Norwegian
thing.
experiment, I think that's sort of what we have to look at when we go out in the world on our Viking quest, is because everywhere where you go, people are asking, of course, where are you coming from and what's your traditions and what are you doing? And then we can start reporting a little about this Norwegian experiment, or Nordic Scandinavian. We're part of the Scandinavian, but we are quite different from the Danes and the Swedes. We have a different history and a different way to go about. We are the small brother. The Danes and the Swedes has been historically quite significant players on the European theaters.
Yes.
Strong nations been part of like the power game. We have never been that since the Viking Age. I think we lost our sovereignty to the Danish 1300-ish. So we were under the Danish rule in 400 years. It's called the 400-year night, or
It's a long night.
yeah, it's a long night. So we are coming out from in a little innocent small brother, and suddenly we, boom, got the oil, and we think of ourselves that we have avoided the Spanish disease or the Dutch disease, and
Resource curse.
yeah, resource curse for those of you that don't know that. If you suddenly get a load of resources, it can, kill your creativity and
Breaks your economy.
yes,
Yeah.
it's a curse, not a blessing.
No.
So we think that we managed, and on the paper it looks like it today because we have stuck the money aside.
Maybe.
But that fortune is like
And
making the state do extremely a lot of power grabs, stupid things, because
And all the
they
things
can
that
afford
we...
them. All the political guys can just, give,
Yeah, makes it harder.
just shower money on all the problems.
And that oil fund, when you invest everything in the stock market, you're not really spreading it out on things. Maybe you should diversify.
Because if you take
Get some oil, get some gold.
if you take a step higher and see it on a global perspective and also in a geopolitical game,
Yeah.
if that geopolitical situation change,
Yeah,
those money are gone.
that's what I'm saying. So you should buy land somewhere else and
Or
things
or build up your power in your own nation.
that's at least you can control a little better.
Yeah,
Right?
it should think if you build up the capacity to defend yourself and the capacity to survive without too much help from outside, because we have the most scared,
What do you mean?
sjelden,
Rare?
the most rare resource, or the most, and we have a lot of energy.
Well, that's important.
One thing is the oil and gas, which is complicated because of the CO2 emissions, but we also have this abundance of hydropower,
Yeah, hydropower. Sure.
and we can also generate extremely much more if we are willing to be radical. Because we have, this is very detailed. Because we have in Norway, we have some main rivers going through main valleys, and going north-south, and some of them going west-east or east-west. But the big one goes north-south. You have Gudbrandsdalslågen, and Gudbrandsdalen, it's a valley that is a V-shaped valley, because you have different shapes of the valley, but V-shaped valley means it's steep sides on both. And if we say to all the people in Gudbrandsdalen, maybe you should move, like China's way, right?
Yeah.
We have the
Maybe
state.
move tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
gonna be
we give you some weeks, and you
Yeah.
empty that for people, and you put then you will have the largest, accumulation of water and hydropower. I think that will double our output, at least maybe triple. And then we can convert all that energy to industry, to whatever you want, and defense, and so we could be this electrified fortress up here north, always shining as a star.
Still too...
Don't fuck with these guys; they have everything, and that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But we don't do that because our elites, they want to run around and be nice guys.
I mean, the why is hard to say, but the tendency for the push for the world being more global and try to weaken the nation state has been going on for a long time.
Yeah,
Not
but
just Norway.
No, I know, but there's a little reaction to that now with
Yeah, but that's
after the COVID.
that's not allowed to be the main message. Say.
No, nationalism are
goal.
seen as ultra right bad shit.
Yeah, well, any form of saying we want to say your country and put it first, you are labeled as an extreme
Then you're
person.
Trump.
Yeah, which is you say is extreme.
Yes.
And which is strange in many ways, but and you can also understand because the fear could be real.
Yes.
But the irony is that now the fear of the so-called fascism
Yes.
is now something we have more of than ever before, meaning state and cooperation working together.
Yes.
State media, which is like the definition of fascism.
Yeah, it's corporatism, and it's so it's one.
So we are there.
It's only lacking the leader that grabs the show.
Yeah, but then you
everything
could say
is
you need
prepared.
a leader, but you don't really need the leader anymore. You have the bureaucracy,
Yes,
the faceless,
which is worse.
because
Cannot hang them
it's hard.
upside down.
It's hard
That's
to like
what they did.
ritually renew the
Mussolini was
faceless.
hanged with his head down.
Yeah, there have been many horrible ends to tyrants.
The tyrants, that's their real nightmare.
But the faceless tyrant, what do you do?
And
you can't end them.
numberless,
Numberless,
faceless tyrants.
Yeah,
That's spooky.
that's spooky town.
But even in Spooky Town, you have some agency. And that's the hope for the human, that like one person can change the course or the direction of history.
Yeah, at least your own.
Like a Jesus or Muhammad Ali. Not Muhammad Ali, but Muhammad Ali.
He did change some things.
Yeah, he changed something.
Nah, I think that's not up to you. It's up to the others later. What significance you are given. It's weird many ways that some people become like this symbol for change and
But
so on. And
before we close up, John, you should give me this challenge. I think
we have talked about it a little last episode, so I think we're gonna go for the plan we outlined.
Yes.
We'll start with some journaling, trying to recognize and be aware of the inner monologue, self-talk.
Yeah.
To kind of bring that into consciousness, not just let it be something unnamed, and doing that by, I would say we can start on Monday by when you have a dark thought, emotion, impulse about yourself or others.
But is
Try
that
to
something
write it down?
you think me and you should share, or but that is like very private?
That the issue with who you want to share it with is that's a tricky one. But I think it would be best if it's shared with someone.
Yeah, but I think you and me can share.
We could do that. I mean,
that's very interesting.
It's interesting,
and but it's not necessary that we need to report it, because we in a way we use this podcast to try to commit to something, to commit to the growth, or to commit to the journey, to whatever you want to call it, but some sort of growth, wisdom. Maybe that's maybe pretentious, but
I think
in a way
making if you have the desire to improve the world, you have to improve yourself.
Yeah, or we don't have a desire to improve the world. We have desire to improve ourselves, and then we can see what happens.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe it ripple out, maybe not. It's outside our control. But
Well, you can say Viking Quest is improving the world
yeah, it
for
is.
the Vikings at
For the
least.
Vikings. Yeah.
So
That's something.
that is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
So perspective is everything.
If our team wins, the world are improved.
It's improved.
Yes,
in many ways.
of course.
So the
And everything comes with a price anyway. So
no, I think that's been the journey so far, and willing to accept the risk and the struggle by doing something hard to maybe achieve something better.
yep.
And doing
So this
some self-reporting and sharing it is a very vulnerable thing.
of course, and
and
if
risk-
we do that we can start on Monday, and that's a very interesting task,
See how it's done.
because I think
best.
both of us have a lot of dark thoughts about ourselves.
It's so hard to say what someone else has in their mind. That's why it's so interesting.
Yes,
It's so super difficult.
it is.
You can say what they say out loud. But
Yes.
And we'll start doing that, and then we'll do some volunteer work once a week after some in
that's
some
like-
shape or
that's-
form.
That's because you want to challenge me to think not only of myself
Then
and my
we'll
business.
see the dark thoughts.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yeah.
No, I think it's I think that's
I take that challenge.
it's
I
an
have some.
okay challenge. It's not too much.
Of course, I have some theories about that, as about everything.
No, but doing something is the key, right?
Yes.
I think we agree that
Yep.
you can think as much as you like about anything, but until you do it, you have no clue.
Just before closing, now you have into your. How is your challenge with your training program going?
It's going well. I think we can do the summary next time,
Okay.
because then we are actually done.
Yes.
Yeah, and see how
But
sum it up. But
okay,
to
but
spoil that, I think it's been going well.
Okay, so I look forward to that.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you for
With
today.
that, yes.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.